4 equations in y equals mx plus b form day 1. When I taught you the slope unit in 7th grade, I extended it on and made sure you understood this. So it should have been a pre-teach to what we're doing today. So it shouldn't make what we're doing today very hard at all. It should be like super easy. So it says non-proportional linear relationships, lines that do not pass through 0, 0. Okay, or do not pass through the origin. Remember, the origin is where the x and y axis cross. So this is our origin right here. Okay, remember, to be proportional, they have to go through the center. Does that make sense? We have to start at 0, 0, or it has to go through it, not start there. It's often written in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is this y equals mx plus or minus b form. M is the slope. Remember, we talked about that. We've talked about that over, and I kind of tried to drill it in your head, which is the rise over our run. Okay, and B is your y-intercept. It is where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so example 1, it says write the equation of y equals x minus 3. Okay, it's wanting you to rewrite it in mx plus b. It is in mx plus, or y equals mx plus b form, but they want you to see it as what the slope is. What is the m is 1. Because, look, if you look at your thing, I'm just going to write a little bigger so you can see. If we don't have anything in front of the x, we know that there's an unwritten rule that there's a 1 there, right? Okay, so our m is 1. And then our b is whatever sign is in front of it, goes with it. So our b is going to be negative 3. Okay, so it's all kind of written on there. I kind of left the notes this time just in case you wanted to look back over it. You can use slope-intercept form to graph the equation. So right here they have this y equals 2x plus 1. They went over here and graphed it. So they said the m is 2 over 1. And the b is 1. So remember when we talked about this back in that 7th grade unit, we said start with your b and plot it on the line. So they started right here, and that's your b. Okay, from that, do your rise over your run. So they rise 1, 2, and ran 1. Rise 1, 2, and run 1. We can go down 1, 2, and over 1. And you can plot all your points, and there's your line. Okay, you can make your own line. Remember, we even talked about that before. Yes? The 1 is your y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. It crosses it right there. Okay, so we're going to do some examples, and I hope that'll clear it up. But, okay, so write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form with the given slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so every time I'm going to use this form. It's going to be plus or minus right here. So we're going to fill it in. I'm just writing this. Okay. Okay. So
what's that line under the B?
It can be plus or minus. I'm saying that's plus, that means plus or minus right there. Okay, so if my slope is 1, then I'm not going to write anything in front of x. I'm just going to say x, okay? And then my y-intercept is 1. So I'm going to say x plus y equals x plus 1 is the line for that. Okay, look at number 2. My slope is 2. So I'm going to say y equals 2x. My y-intercept is negative 4, so it's going to be minus 4, okay? If it's a negative, I'm going to go ahead and make that a subtraction sign and make it minus 4. Okay, number 3. My slope is 1/2, so I'm going to do 1/2 x and then minus 1. Guys, it really is that simple. You put your m in front of, or your slope in front of your x. You put your y-intercept where your b should go, and then you've written your equation. Okay, now the next one's graph it. So remember, I'm going to go ahead and have you label. I want you to label your m and label your b, just so we all understand where those are coming from. So my m is 2. My b is 2. They both happen to be 2 on this one. So I always, am I going too fast? I always start with my y-intercept. I start with a 2. So I go to 2 and I plot a point right there. From that point, I do my rise over my run. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, and run 1. And I'm going to put a point. I can't go any further up because my graph stops. It continues going, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to go down 2 and over 1, down 2. And I can plot some more points just so I can make my line straight. I like my line. I like to have a few points to have a straight line. Yes. Yes, I'm going to have you do that. Okay? So go ahead and extend this line through right here. What? Okay, so I did rise over my run because really this is 2 over 1 right there. So I went up from my first dot, my original point, and went up 1, 2, and then over 1.
And then you can go down 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's go graph the next one. So let's start with our M and our B. So my M is 1. It's 1 over 1 or 1. My B is -1. So I'm going to graph -1. So I'm going to graph -1 right there on my y-axis. Okay, and then I'm going to do 1 over 1. So I'm going to rise 1, run 1, plot. You good with that? Okay, so remember it's a positive slope, so it's going up the stairs. Okay, let's look at number 6. Okay, my M is -1/2. My B is 2. So I'm going to go on my y-axis. I'm going to go up 2. And then I'm going to do, it's negative. So I'm going to go up 1 and to the left 2. Up 1 and to the left 2. Because it's negative. It's going the opposite way. If it's positive, I go up and to the right. Okay? So, or I can go down and to the right.
So B's always right.
B is your y-intercept. B is your y-intercept. It's where it crosses this one. It's that one. On this one, this is your rise over your run. M is your rise over your run. Okay, so how do you feel about this? If you want, look at the back side, and I want you to go by all the graphs on the back side, and I want you to write M and B, because that's going to be part of your answers. Yes, ma'am. So she asked the question, why is it 2 to the left? You could go one of 2 ways here, okay? You made your first point, and it's -1/2. It doesn't matter. It's saying that one of the numbers is negative, right? If I had -1 over -2, that's a little different, right? But that makes a +1/2, right? So one of these numbers is negative. So I'm just going to go always up, and then I'm going to go to the left. That's my personal way. You could decide that negative was the 1, and you could go down and then run to the right. Does that make sense? So because it's running, one of them's got to be negative. I always go up and to the left when it's negative. If it's positive, we're going up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right, or down and to the left, down and to the left, down and to the left. Remember, if it has a negative slope, your line needs to go down the stairs.